Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone in your thoughts? While everyone laughed, you were somewhere else entirely. While the world slept, your mind was just getting started. While others accepted the answer, you were still asking the question. If that sounds familiar, you are not normal. And that is the greatest thing about you. Psychology tells us that certain minds are wired differently. They process the world at a deeper frequency. They feel more, question more, and see what others simply walk past. And over 1,400 years ago, long before neuroscience had a name for it, the Quran described these very people. Those who remember Allah while standing, sitting, and lying on their sides, and reflect deeply upon the creation of the heavens and the earth. Surah Al-Imran 3:191. Today, we explore 6 signs of a rare mind. Stay until the last one. It will surprise you. The world calls it loneliness. You call it necessary. When the noise fades, something in you settles. Not because you don't love people, but because silence is where you finally hear yourself think. Psychology calls this high introversion paired with deep self-awareness. These individuals don't recharge in crowds. They recharge in quiet. And neuroscience backs this up. People who regularly seek solitude show significantly higher activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for deep thinking, self-reflection, and emotional regulation. This is not isolation. This is architecture. And the prophet, before revelation, before prophethood, would retreat to the cave of Hira, alone, thinking, reflecting. Solitude is not emptiness. It is where rare minds are built. Someone asks a question. Everyone gives an answer. You give 10 more questions. This is called deep processing, a well-documented cognitive trait found in highly reflective individuals. Where others see the event, you see the pattern behind it. Where others hear the words, you hear what wasn't said. It can feel like a burden sometimes, like your brain won't let things go. But the Quran calls this exact quality an act of worship. Do they not reflect upon the Quran? Or are there locks upon their hearts? Surah Muhammad 47:24. Tadabbur, deep contemplation, is not just intelligence. In the language of the Quran, it is a command. When you can't stop asking why, you're not overthinking. You're doing what most minds simply refuse to do. You walk into a room. Someone is smiling, but their eyes aren't. You already know. You sit in a conversation full of hollow words, and something inside you quietly withdraws. Psychologists call this high authenticity sensitivity. These individuals have a finely tuned internal compass, and when the environment is fake, their nervous system registers it almost like a physical discomfort. They don't just prefer honesty. They need it to function. The Quran speaks of nifaq, hypocrisy, as one of the most dangerous states a soul can be in, not just morally, spiritually. So when you pull away from pretense, when performative spaces drain you, that's not antisocial behavior. That is your fitra, your original nature, protecting itself. No one said anything was wrong, but you felt it anyway. You walked into a room and sensed the tension before a single word was spoken. You looked into someone's eyes and saw the exhaustion they were hiding behind a smile. This is empathic accuracy, a measurable psychological phenomenon. In rare individuals, the mirror neurons in the brain are unusually active, allowing them to absorb, process, and reflect the emotional states of those around them. It is a gift, and sometimes it is an overwhelming one. The Quran describes the prophet with words that still echo. There has come to you a messenger from among yourselves. Grievous to him is your suffering. Surah At-Tawbah 9:128. To feel the pain of others. To carry what was never yours to carry. That is not weakness. That is the mark of a prophetic heart. Everyone agreed. You asked, but why? Not to be difficult, not to rebel, but because something in you simply could not accept consensus as proof. Psychologists call this intellectual nonconformity, and research from Stanford shows it is one of the strongest predictors of creative genius and breakthrough thinking. These minds built every major shift in human history. They were never the majority. The Quran warned about the danger of blind majority following over 14 centuries ago. And if you obey most of those upon the earth, they will mislead you from the way of Allah. Surah Al-An'am 6:116. Following the crowd is easy. Thinking, truly thinking, takes a rare kind of courage. The day belongs to the world, but the night belongs to you. When everything goes quiet, something in you wakes up. The thoughts you pushed aside all day start rising to the surface. The questions, the ideas, the feelings you didn't have time to feel. Psychology calls this a nocturnal cognitive surge, a pattern consistently observed in deeply reflective, highly creative individuals. The silence of the night removes the friction of the day, and the mind finally breathes. But here is where it gets profound. The Quran did not just acknowledge this pattern, it elevated it. And arise in the night for prayer, as an additional worship for you. Perhaps your Lord will raise you to a praised station. Surah Al-Isra 17 hours 79 minutes. The night hours are not wasted hours. They are sacred hours, when your rare mind meets the stillness of the night. And that restlessness turns toward reflection, toward gratitude, toward God. You are not just thinking differently. You are exactly where you were always meant to be. 6 signs. Seeking solitude. Thinking deeply. Rejecting pretense. Feeling what others miss. Questioning the crowd. Coming alive at night. The world may have called you too sensitive, too quiet, too intense, too much. But psychology calls you rare. And the Quran calls you Ulul Albaab, the people of deep understanding. You were never broken. You were just built differently. If this video reached something inside you, drop a comment right now. I think differently. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this with them. They need to know they are not alone.